Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Fixing Commons County, where last episode we built this absolutely amazing cargo train terminal and train depot. And this episode we're going to be keeping up with a similar idea of detailing and expanding it into more areas in the industrial district. There's a lot of things that I want to do in this series. But right now, one of the things that I want to focus on is moving these two subway yards. These are pretty essential to our city. I can see us cutting down one of them because we're only using 10 and 3, so we're still using less than the 15 that each allot. But I think if we just build two non-upgraded subway yards, maybe we have a shared road in between them for access, I think that could be something that's really special and really serves our city well. Now, I'm not entirely sure where to place these yet. I think the end location is really going to be governed by topography and the size. Pretty large assets, and especially we want to have two of them right next to each other. So let's just take a look. This is one of the spots that I thought we could have it on the opposite side of the airport, but I don't really know how we would bring our subway tracks in to access this. While this is a pretty flat area, good for one of these subway yards, I don't see us being able to fit two subway yards in here with. I did think of reconfiguring this initial area. That would mean that we can just push this highway over slightly more and have it take a slightly more dramatic turn as it avoid this rail line and move towards this industrial area. That would mean that there's a possibility to create another interchange around here, as if you maybe drag a highway running parallel through the city and connect it up to this one once again so that you don't have to go all the way down here. And frankly, while that's a really compelling option, I don't necessarily see us having the space for it over here. I think that the current layout is really what works best, and I don't want a layout like this. I don't like how these subway tracks are laid out. I want to give them more space to breathe, and I want to turn it into more of a central area. So we could push this hill back, level out the terrain, kind of push some dirt around to flatten it all out to the same height as this airport. I would really like to give the tracks some more room to breathe, so we might want to drag the subway track out kind of on its own brand. Now, we do have a subway track that ends up underneath this station. I thought that maybe we could bring the track out under this hill, bring it out here, and kind of start to move these subway yards into the industrial area. I'm going to end up wanting to reconfigure this entire industrial district anyway. Now, this is again a pretty good possibility. This time it'll actually fit, but the topography over here is kind of crazy. Because we're right up against a hill, I don't see these subway tracks entering the yard in any kind of feasible, reasonable way. I would see them having to do all sorts of bunchy and all sorts of tight turns to get in there, or we would have to push the subway yard so far back that it would really just destroy the fabric of this district. Which is, to be fair, something that we're hoping to do at some point, but I don't necessarily see it as something that I want to do right now just via the subway yards. And our last option for this district is to push it all the way back here. I think this is the most reasonable option for us right now. Where we initially had this original rail yard that we've now moved up here and connected to the cargo train terminal. And if we bring these already a fairly flat area, I think we would end up destroying this part of the city. Kind of, you can see how well it works. I can see us having one on each side of this road effectively, and then bring this road over as the connection into Cooper Street in the residential area over here. We might add a small subway stop of some sorts to connect up to this and provide access to the residential area, but I don't know that it's high enough density for that. We might just leave it for now and have the subway station and have the closest subway station be this airport station way over here. This would make my goal into having at grade or elevated subway tracks that probably run parallel to the highway until they reach around the point of this area. This would also mean getting rid of this cargo harbor and most of this industrial area, and honestly, that is something that I am completely fine with. I think that having two cargo harbors in this district is eyesore and completely unnecessary, and a drain on our budget for that matter, and having this branched off district kind of feels like an afterthought considering it's so close to the residential and doesn't really have much purpose for being here. I think instead what we can do is we can add the subway yards, turn this into our train terminus, and then we can move one of the cargo harbors up to move it closer towards that and create more of a direct connection to the cargo train terminal, and then we can expand and really create a purpose for this industrial area and this harbor. We can really create connections to the airport and turn this into something that has a reason. One of the things that we also have access to now is the Road Builder mod. This is my favorite mod for Cities Skylines 2 and Cities Skylines 1 ever. Absolutely love this. There's no mod better than this. This is something that I had the idea for as soon as I saw the initial vanilla Cities Skylines 2 bus upgrade mechanic that they gave us and were mentioning a lot in the trailers. I said, oh, they're 100% going to extend this road upgrade system to create our own fully custom roads, almost like Street Mix. And look what TDW and his team have done. we have the road builder mod, and exactly what I thought. If you click on it, you get all these different upgrade methods, and you can just drag one in there, and suddenly you have a bus lane in the middle of your road. It's incredible. I'd like to see if there's any room for using this road builder mod in the remainder of this episode as we begin to create these subway yards and industrial area. I'm not entirely sure if it's going to work out that way, but I'd like to see how it turns out and just kind of have some fun as I get to doing this. So let's see how it goes. Help, 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 I can't see anything. I can't see anything. This is blinding. There's no detail in the terrain whatsoever. Oh gosh. Trying to terraform over here. I don't know how this looks flat. This just looks flat. If I'm looking at it like this, you can't tell there's a cliff here. You can't tell there's a huge hill here. You can hardly tell there's a mountain over here when you're just looking at it like this. Nope, it's all just flat. It's all just flat. There's nothing here. There's no detail there. Nope. Oh boy, I'm going insane.
In none for me to spare. I helped you out, but that was my mistake. I needed help, and nobody else. I don't know why love. I don't know why me. I don't know why love. I don't know why me. I don't know why love. I don't know me. I don't know why love. I don't know me. I don't know why love. I screwed up, yet you believe in me. Why do you put so much trust in me? I lie to your face and you show love. Why do you reward me with your love? Can't you see that I am just alive? Would you believe that I am alive? I don't deserve you to give me love. I don't know why you still give me love. I don't know why love. I don't know why me. I don't know why love. I don't know why me. I don't know why love. I don't know me.
All right. right, I've been playing for some time and I wanted to go for a very similar style to what we had going on for these cargo train terminals here, so I that same style down to the subway stations, where we kind of got this rugged, kind of dirty look with all sorts of decals and stuff and mess all around the tracks. Like, it's really not maintained very much, and I love that. I love that so much. I feel like that's exactly the type of rail aesthetic that I just love to see. I think I went a little bit overboard with some of the boxes because I spammed them with anarchy on. I know, for shame, so I have to clean up some of them. I'm cleaning them up as I spot them. But for the most part, this is how I wanted it to be. What I ended up doing, what's really interesting, is I added in all of these cranes. Ideal world, what I would have done is I had added in some of these container movers like we got in the cargo train cargo harbor, so that we can move some of these subway cars off of the tracks and onto the side just for additional storage, or while they're being broken down, or older versions of the cars or anything like that, so they're not actually being stored, not actively not being stored there at daytime or nighttime. Just kind of an older system. Maybe they're waiting to be sent off to the dumpster, or maybe they're waiting to be brought into the maintenance facility so that they can be. We have all these cranes lying around. We also have these lying around for these bridge pieces. So presumably this rail network is constantly under construction or maintenance. They have all these extra pieces lying around, whether it's billboards or rail pieces or crates or boxes, anything along these lines. They ideally have all of these extra pieces lying around all over the place. The end product of this is this very, very brown and gray and concrete heavy, very industrial and dark feeling area that I just absolutely love the feeling of. Just this whole vibe that we have going on right now is just fantastic to me. One of the things that we've also done, we've sunken this rail down so that it enters through underneath this hill, underneath the cargo train terminal. Realistically, you might be worried about the weight capacity or about vibrations whole area, but because this whole thing is just structured rather than cars or labs or anything like that, I think for the most part it's fine. Then we just have that running around and connecting back up with our subway line got going on over here. Got rid of the second cargo harbor in favor of creating a network over there, which is something that we still gotta rethink a little bit. A lot of this stuff fully makes sense, but for the most part we're keeping that and just linking up to it for now. We have one branch that runs straight through the center of our subway yards and then connects on with a little bit of a jog to match the train line residential district. I pulled the through line, and I pulled the through line through on the other side so that we kind of have this terminus just for turning around or for extra storage at nighttime or anything. That ends up creating this absolutely fantastic vibe where you get these trains that are totally chopped down. It's as if the forest has been cut away for this huge expanse staring out right over the ocean on this prime real estate. The forest is cut away and then it leads back into the forest regrowth where you have these billboards lying around and you have this big turnaround area just right over here. And I love how that's feeling. We also have one road that branches off, or two roads technically, but one road that branches off creates this key wall that bridges the elevation difference right up against the water, and then one road all the way down at the bottom because it felt weird having such a big key right into the water. We have a smaller one just closer down, and I don't really know what we'll do yet. I think that this area needs some parking, so we might bring this road back here and turn this into a parking lot of sorts. Bring this lower road down, maybe some sort of a marina. I don't know. Maybe we'll bring this in as an extra residential access road just along the coast and kind of weave it around. The other alternative is turning both of these roads into some sort of side highway that runs straight through the industrial district all the way down lengthwise and kind of parallels the main highway. We'll see. But for now, this is our subway yard and I'm pretty happy with it. I love how it looks. I love how it complements the rail yard, and I think it's much better than this existing location. So let's, on camera together, destroy these original buildings. Just these monstrosities, these scars in the landscape, just foul, foul creations. I'm so glad to finally have all of this mess, just absolute mess, gone, because it was definitely ruining the sight of our new airport that we worked on, our new highway that we worked on, just constantly sitting in the background and taking up such incredibly valuable space. Gosh, I mean, look at this. What is this? What is this? What is this? Like, honestly, past things, did you really have to do this? Okay, let's get rid of it. Super easy. Just getting rid of all the branches, getting rid of all these, I don't even know how to describe them. Fingers maybe is the best way. Gross. Horrible. We're gonna want to rethink this connection a little bit soon now that we've deleted everything and cleared out all this extra area. We're gonna want to rethink this. Maybe turn this park for the airport. Maybe turn it into a hotel complex. I don't know. But for now, good subway yards. What's next? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, look at it, look at it, look at it. We got ourselves a train using our new subway tracks. It's just pulling out. I just extended the subway line to go to this new station, and we got ourselves a train. Oh, look at it driving by. In the meantime, you can see our brand new parking lots we've created. You can see this new roadway that we've extended out with this stone wall. I don't know why I'm talking like this, but it's magical. We have a train. Watch it, watch it, watch it. It's gonna track switch, it's gonna cross over right here. It's gonna pull right into the station, which has 0 passengers waiting right now, but we don't talk about that. Kind of interesting that like of all of the assets to not have parking in the game, this is the one. This is the one that has no parking. I figure we could probably upgrade it with passenger services if we wanted to, but this area is pretty poor. If you look at all these houses, you can see in the tooltip, wealth poor, wealth wretched, wealth poor. Some of these commercial places are actually doing decently well, but mostly poor wealth. So this station doesn't really need very much. I think what I've done is I've lowered the ticket price of this route down so that I can continue on. But if we just look at this route for a second, look at that. It goes all the way around. It goes through our subway yard, around underneath this bridge, down underground over here. It goes underneath our cargo train terminal and rail yard, and then it pops out of the mountain briefly over here to go over a bridge in this valley. Look at that. Look at the train go by. Look at it go over the highway with a rail bridge and industrial in the background. This is just such a unique area. Oh, how I love this area. I love how this is turning out. Connects all the way back up to the airport, connects back into the train station, and the route goes on as usual. I think we gotta lower down the amount of assigned vehicles to its minimum though. 5 vehicles is too much. That's fine. Oh, look at the train move. Look at it go through this area. I like to think that it has to stop and go just because how dirty this area is. This is such a clean and shiny train in such a rundown area. You can imagine them getting their maintenance done here or pulling back in towards the end of the night. But now we just gotta watch it go underneath this bridge with the car driving over it and the ferry in the background. And a lag spike in the foreground. And then watch, it's gonna go into the train tunnel, and it's gonna enter and hide over there, barely bumping around and moving these crates around. Ooh, there goes the next train just popping out. I gotta break this crate. It'll drive me crazy. Oh, this is just beautiful. I love how this area is starting to feel like it's full of life, and these red trains really just stand out against the scenery. You can see the airports. It is just such a hub of infrastructure. You can see all of this messy infrastructure right over here, but it's all so deliberate, especially by comparison with some of our older networks. We look at stuff like this, it's simultaneously messy and not very deliberate. You can see things were kind of added as an afterthought, like this bridge going overhand and the super steep slopes that are a result of that. Or, of course, whatever is happening over here with this loop-de-loop type of thing. Why didn't I just bring the ramp back further? Or why didn't I just create a totally different intersection over here? Why is this intersection elevated 50 feet above the ground? Who knows? So I love how deliberate this whole area is, with all of its trains pulling in and out, all of its bridges going right over the roadways, still clearing the tops of the light posts, so we know that it's a safe intersection. But it's just gorgeous, and you see so much intention behind everything that we've done in this episode and the last one. Even things as minor as these parking lots. These provide parking for this train station, but also parking for all of the services over here, because you can expect that there are a lot of employees who work in these buildings. 60 employees, and we most certainly do not have 60 spaces of parking in these 2 side lots that we've got going on over here. But by adding in all these extra lots, we have more than enough parking for these subway yards, as well as for the overground subway station, passengers, and many of the surrounding units. Now, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with the rest of this area. We're still seeing a lot of green, and I think that's fine over here where we have this residential area. I might want to add some branches out, maybe off of this dirt road that starts to create houses closer up on the hill and back it up a little bit, so it's not just such a sharp density fall off with terrible terraforming. I want to make this feel a little bit more deliberate, but the core concept of a residential district connected with a subway station is there. We might want to add some small services around here. Maybe we'll turn this into a dock or a pier of some sorts. maybe make this all kind of an artificial squared off area. But I think that might be overbuilding it for such a minor little area as this. We might instead turn it into kind of a walking area, or maybe we'll add a couple of industrial areas over here and then just add some walking paths and turn this into a kind of coastal park area. And then this area, I think we can add some branching off streets that extend towards the water and just have a little bit of industrial along each of those roads. I think it would be pretty cool if we also integrated little bits of rail into each of those, as if Hemlock Street was originally part of this rail corridor. Maybe it originally branched off, went down the hill, and then looped around the coast as this big rail line that's now been converted into a subway line and into a big roadway. So I'd like to have maybe some abandoned rail lines that just branch off into this area, turn this into a waterfront district of sorts. I think we'll get to this whole area in the next episode, but for now, let's work on that. Making progress. Well, first things first, we have now passed 300,000 citizens. With only a 12.5% unemployment rate, we have 150,000 jobs in the city, 131,000 people are employed. We have about 17,000 jobs available for people. We have 31,000 people moving in a month and only 1,700 people moving away. We have 3,100 births per month and only 1,600 deaths per month. We have a massive population with actually a shocking amount of children, but a good amount of adults, a little bit of seniors, and it's pretty cool. I'm kind of loving it. See that what's happened over here is that this community is effectively a retirement community. If you look at the citizen age in here, we have some pretty old folks in this area. Yes, there are some younger people here and there, but for the most part, they're a lot more on the older and kind of a little higher on the middle end of that spectrum. But what we've done just now is something that is sure to completely infuriate these residents. I created a hotel dock. What? A hotel dock. It's a pier that was constructed specifically for hotel and tourism. Effectively, what you can imagine happening is that at larger hotels, like our international airport over here, there's a dedicated hotel for the airport where passengers oftentimes stay if they have a long over between their flights. Okay, so we've used the Grand Hotel for this area, but our non-international airport, like over here, doesn't have any hotels attached to it. We have a lot of parking lots, we have a landfill, we have a train station, and of course there's no hotels for miles. The closest one you can get to might be in downtown in one of the high-rises. So of course we have to provide people a cheaper option more in the suburbs. If they don't want to pay these expensive downtown prices and don't want to have to go all the way into the other region of the city, what this does is this adds just one train stop away, one subway stop. If you take the red line, which as I showed before runs all the way through the industrial district, just one stop will bring you to this overground subway station right in the middle of this essentially retirement. You then can get out of your overground subway station and hop onto the pedestrian path, which will take you over a set of double arch bridges, one over the train tracks and one over this roadway. And then you can continue on this pathway past the parking lot, through in between the hotel building, and then as you walk off the foot of this pedestrian pathway, you enter this park, which yes, does have some homeless folks, but that's just a bug with the current city, and also somewhat realistic in 2024. And you enter this beautiful circular park with a pathway bisecting it. And you get, look at this uniform color scheme, uniform design. Doesn't it feel so beautifully dystopian? Right on the intersection of Chirper Street, and Chirper Street, you get these absolutely beautiful views just overlooking the water right next to your parks and all your different hotels. I can imagine if all of their hotels originally looked like these smaller, shorter, 6-story hotels, which is pretty typical, and then these two over here were upgraded into these much taller, bigger buildings as they got more money and found success in this area. But now this whole area is kind of lying abandoned and deserted due to a lull in tourism in the district and a lot of homeless population around the area. This area is starting to become abandoned way, but they're still keeping the hotels here. And they still have all of this gorgeous infrastructure to connect the hotels up with the surrounding area as the subway train pulls in. We are starting to actually get some passengers. Here we have 11 passengers waiting with an average wait time of just 5 minutes. We have 0 passengers on the subway train, unsurprisingly. But this area is still pretty quiet, and I think what's next is that I'm going to start to drag a pathway out from this area, run it along the boardwalk, run it, connect it up to all the houses, and turn it into a little bit of a coastal hiking trail of sorts. Welcome back! Now, in addition to the hotel complex, we've got this beautiful pathway that loops all around past the bronze statue, all around us, right around the coast, terminates right up against the mountains over here. You can imagine people might try and hike up, but it's quite steep. Not that you can see it much with this blindingly white snow. My pathway is beautiful, and this roadway that I mentioned before takes us past all this parking, past the hotels district, and over to this new industrial area, which you saw me build. Very manual and somewhat detailed industrial area. We got some tree bridges along the coastline so that it doesn't feel too industrial, too dense, but it still feels very concrete-y, especially in the middle over here. As we look in, we see these swaths of parking just sprinkled throughout here, and so much parking in with many of these buildings as well. And you also have all these little sub-buildings that are for meat and for plastics, all sorts of things. You can see that I've also created a little bit of a spruce line right up against the road, so it kind of feels like you're driving along a forest. I keep on trying to delete these sub-elements for the rail, but they keep on coming back, so I figure that's just something that's on a timer. But we do have rail lines that come through here. Essentially, I've created this one-lane, two-way rail track that runs parallel to this road over here, And the idea is that it bent off and turned into each of these industrial areas. It's kind of a pickup for the back of these buildings, respectively, kind of like alleys function nowadays, but in this case as trains. And I imagine that these would have gone away with Hemlock Street being built. These crossings would have disappeared, but the frameworks for them have remained, and the tracks throughout the industrial area, which is older and more historic, I imagine that those tracks have also remained, which is why they exist like this here today, but they terminate again at this newer roundabout, where presumably they would have continued in some way onto these original tracks, or maybe closer to the harbor port, but it was removed in favor of all of this new structure. One of the things while that's been happening, our death waves have finally subsided. I built 3 additional crematoriums over here, which are now basically completely empty and not being used for anything, so we can delete each of these. But just having that extra capacity for a time to help cremate all the bodies really got us through the last of that death wave over here that we were already on our way down for. So while we have a bunch of ambulances that have apparently just popped up, you saw that too? I was just recording that. A whole bunch of people just simultaneously got sick. But that's alright, we got a whole bunch of ambulances that are dispatched from the medical clinics, from our hospital. There's plenty of vehicles still able to be used in this area. That means that with those death waves subsided, we can actually start working on these areas. The city is now actually functioning at least somewhat normally in those areas, so we don't have to just stay cornered off into this one little industrial area. But for now, I think that's about the progress that I want to make on this episode. This industrial area over here by the harbor and on the other side of the cargo harbor, as well as these parking lots that are in between these road networks, a lot of this is still going to be something for a future episode. But for now, I think we made pretty good progress. In addition to our airport and our industrial area, we have all these new bridges and new lines that connect up to our original cargo harbor, new roads, and all of that new, or I guess old, industrial area, these new subway terminals, new hotels over here, and a newly refreshed retirement community with a train stop and the preservation of this bronze statue that's over here with new rails that connect up to it. I think that this area is just fantastic. Totally looking forward to developing it some more as we move into the coming episodes. But for now, that's all that I have time for. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for spending your time with me on this episode. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to the rest of the series. See you in the next one. Bye bye.